Hello everybody and welcome back to another Ayoto Corporation video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Armed with Wings Rearmed, which is currently on early access for $8 on Steam. Now, what the game is a it's sort of a platformer action slasher kind of game, but I'll explain to you some of the limitations of that particular genre, I guess, in this game. In the game, you play as the Lone Wanderer, who's armed with a sword, and actually, you can unlock these. I'll show you that a bit later, but it's still in early access, so a lot of the stuff isn't actually available. Same with the levels, actually. I've gotten up to level 20, I believe. I think I'm up to level 20, and then I think up to level 30, and level 29 is the last level. Like, everything past here is not available. Now, one thing I don't like is that this is not actually mouse-driven. This is entirely keyboard-driven. You cannot control this with your mouse at all. It does have native controller support, though, which is what I'm currently using. I feel that works better for these kinds of games where you basically just mash a button over and over again. But anyway, on to the game. I'll show you what it's about. So, the basic game takes place in this sort of cool silhouette world where you're this guy here, you've got your little bird pal who you can take control of, and it's fairly nice. It all looks hand-drawn, and it's really cool. One kind of weird quirk I will point out, though, is that this game is running in 40 frames per second. It is locked at 40 frames per second. I cannot make it go above 40, and it doesn't really take the resources necessary to go below 40, so, I don't know what the deal with that is. I imagine it's because of it's running on Adobe Air and there's some weirdness there, but that's like there's no reason for it to be locked at 40 of all things. It makes it hard for me to record and edit this thing, I'll tell you that. Anyway, like I said, this game is basically a 2D fighting game. You have your basic combo. Normally it's only 3 slashes or 4 slashes, but I have a thing that boosts it by increasing 2 more slashes. You also have the ability to turn into your bird, and he's important for puzzles as he can pick up items such as this, where you can't, and drop them in various switches. You also have the ability to block, and if a guy hits you as you're blocking, it'll parry it. And you can also do like a dodge kind of thing. Now, one of the cool things here, and this is a mechanic I do like about the game, is that you can actually use your bird sort of offensively. So see this guy here? If I try and climb up the ladder, he'll slash me and knock me off. But I can actually aggro him using my bird. I'm not sure if this is intended or if it's a coding error, but he will attack the bird, which means that I can now fight this guy. So parry's fairly obvious. You block. Let me see if I can... That's how you parry, and I'm just going to kill this guy. You have various kinds of attacks. There's this one charge-up attack where you get by holding down. You have the ability to blow enemies back with an upwards attack, and then you have just your normal combo. And that's it. Combat is not very varied. You don't even have the ability to jump in this game. And that's a major point. Like, it's just very basic. It's just press the A button or press... Actually, it's A on the keyboard as well. Just press the A button until the things in front of you die, and then if they get in front of you, you dodge out of the way, and then you just keep doing that. It doesn't feel good, because it's very basic combat. It's one of those things that died out a long time ago, except for, apparently, indie games. Anyway, the bird, like I said, has the ability to solve puzzles, so let me just go grab this rock really quick. There we go. And now I'm just gonna kill this guy, maybe... Okay, the combo apparently kills him in one hit. Now, as I said, you don't actually have the ability to jump. What happens is, if there's any sort of platforming, and I believe the next level actually does have some, so I can show you that there. There we go. If there's any sort of platforming, your character will just automatically jump forward for you. Let me see if this has it. No, this just has this part. I can actually just avoid these guys straight out. But the game is extremely basic. It'll run on just about anything, I imagine, but there's not much meat to it as far as I can tell. Like, I've mastered the combat after maybe 10 minutes of messing with it, and it's like there. That's the only kind of jump you have. And... now, fuck you. There is a little bit of enemy variety, but it's not a whole lot. Like, that's one kind of enemy. There's like a spitting kind of plant thing that comes out of the ground. There's those basic soldiers. Then there's some other kind of soldiers that show up. But the problem is, again, that it's just one-click combat for a game that's supposed to be focused about the combat. Like, there's nothing to it. There's nothing to learn. There's nothing to master. Once you've learned all the button combinations, of which there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you've learned all 5 buttons, that's it. The game's done. You've learned everything about the game. And also, while I'm at it, settings. This is probably my favorite setting in this, because it changes everything to sort of like a black on white instead of a grayscale kind of thing. But here's the problem. That bar is still black. You can't actually see your charge bar here, and that's just a dumb thing that it'll probably be changed in the final version. You have also various color settings. For example, this is a cool red on black thing. And then there's a really hard on the eyes, white inverted black thing. But that's it. That's basically the game. Not a whole lot to it. Anyway, after you finish each level, you get a number of points based on how many things you killed, things you picked up, etc., etc. And as you go through the game, and if you die or you quit, then your points will be used to unlock new things. For example, I unlocked 2 weapons and an upgrade to my basic attack. I imagine this next thing is another weapon that'll be unlocked, and the thing after that's probably an upgrade, then weapon, upgrade, that sort of thing. And that's pretty much it. There's also survival mode, which is, as you guessed, probably guessed, it's just standing in one location and hitting enemies until they die. It really doesn't help that the game mechanics aren't, very fluid or very in-depth, so it's just really a case of mash the A button, then occasionally dodge until you die or get bored and quit. Now, the reason for this game existing, and it seems a bit odd, is that this is actually a port of a Flash game by the same name, Armed with Wings. Apparently that's the character's name. It's a very strange name. So this is like the port remastered edition and all that. You can actually play it on Newgrounds right now. The problem is that this is the basic game. Like, I played the original version on Newgrounds as well just a little bit ago to check things out, and it is the same thing. They didn't make any updates, they barely changed things. Like, the only changes are the upgrades and the fact that your bird is, like, out and flying with you, instead of, like, hiding in your arms, which it did in the Flash game, hence probably the name. This also is, like, the weakest of the games. Like, I also tried out the third one in the series, and that game's like a full Metroidvania kind of thing, with jumping included, so, like, this is... It goes up from here, but there's really no reason to play this game, I feel. If the developer watches this, like, I would honestly play the second or third ones in this game probably in a heartbeat, because apart from the story, which in this game appears to just be a generic revenge tale against some sort of general or whatever, the other ones have, like, good gameplay. This one is just really basic. Like, I would have appreciated if, like, this game had the updated combat that the newer game had, but, I guess it was sort of balanced around the original gameplay. Either way, that was Armed with Wings. There's really not much to it. Levels are still being built, but the levels that there aren't really, anything to write home about. If the other games in the series do come out, I would definitely give them a shot, but as it stands, I would probably avoid this one for the moment, unless the combat gets massively revamped. Anyway, this has been Ayoto Corporation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.